welcome back, peeps, or if you're new here, I hope you find your time here very pleasant. Today, our topic in hand is art and politics. Art deals with socioeconomic as well as political facts in the community in the light of behavior patterns of human beings in certain periods, and it leads to communities' artistic wants and demands. Racial justice, climate change, gender equality. These are some of the most common topics that are talked about in the news, and every single one is in need of political change so that what they are fighting for can be truly achieved. But usually the ones protesting and raising the voice aren't politicians, aren't governors or social media influencers that can be heard easily. So how can they attract the attention of the right authorities? Yes, one way is to protest, but sometimes this is not enough. Sometimes you need to do something so impactful that it spreads so quickly and effectively that thousands of people start raising their voices. Now I'm gonna give some examples of this impactful way of raising a voice with a lot of people beside you. Okay. Feminism, the belief in social, economic, and political equality of sexes. Although largely originating in the West, feminism is manifested worldwide and is represented by various institutions committed to activity on behalf of women's rights and interests. Throughout most of women's history, they have been confined to the domestic sphere, while public life was reserved for men. In medieval Europe, women were denied the right to own property, to study, or to participate in public life. At the end of the 19th century in France, they were still compelled to cover their heads in public, and in parts of Germany, a husband still had the right to sell his wife. Even as late as the early 20th century, women would neither vote nor hold effective office in Europe and most of the United States, where several territories and states granted women suffrage long before the federal government did so. Women were prevented from conducting businesses without a male representative, be it father, brother, husband, legal agent, or even son. Married women would not exercise control over their own children without the permission of their husbands. Moreover, women had little or no access to education or were barred from most professions. In some parts of the world, such restrictions on women continue today. Now, what have people done? Maybe you have seen this image in the past, the We Can Do It poster. This poster was based on the woman Naomi Parker Frawley, and it was created by J. Howard Miller. Naomi Parker, alongside her sister and thousands of women, became the new economic force of the United States due to them working on factories. J. Howard Miller took inspiration of these women working in factories and created this iconic poster. But this poster was forgotten, and not until 40 years later after its creation, feminist movements rescued this poster and used it for their cause. Maybe you have seen the original poster, but that does not exclude other people from creating their own versions of this. Maybe you have seen it, maybe it has something to do with Star Wars, maybe it has something to do with your favorite anime character. Now, a more recent example of how art is involved in feminism is that in 2019 in Chile, a feminist theater group created a Chilean anti-rape song.
El patriarcado es un juez que nos juzga por nacer y nuestro castigo es la violencia que ya ves, es femicidio, impunidad para mi asesino, es la desaparición, es la violación. Y la culpa no era mía, ni dónde estaba, ni cómo vestía. Y la culpa no era mía, ni dónde estaba, ni cómo vestía. Y la culpa no era mía, ni dónde estaba, ni cómo vestía. Y la culpa no era mía, ni dónde estaba, ni cómo vestía. El violador eras tú. El violador eres tú.
This song became viral on social media, and started to be used in several protests across Latin America. Climate change. Climate change is a long-term change in the average weather patterns that have come to define Earth's local, regional, and global climates. These changes have a broad range of observed effects that are synonymous with the term. Changes observed in Earth's climate since the early 20th century are primarily driven by human activities, particularly fossil fuel burning, which increases heat trapping greenhouse gas levels in Earth's atmosphere, raising Earth's average surface temperature. These human-produced temperatures increases are commonly referred to as global warming. Natural processes can also contribute to climate change, including internal variability and external forcings. Scientists use observations from the ground, air, and space, along with theoretical models to monitor and study past, present, and future climate change. Climate data records provide evidence of climate change key indicators, such as global land and ocean temperature increases. Rising sea levels, ice loss at Earth's poles, and in mountain glaciers. Frequency and severity changes in extreme weather such as hurricanes, heat waves, wildfires, droughts, floods and precipitation, and cloud and vegetation cover changes, to name a few. In the last couple of decades, a lot of people have started to raise their voice for governments to start taking climate change seriously. An example of this is Fridays for the Future, created by Greta Thunberg. With just a cardboard with one phrase, she started protesting, and a lot of people have taken her example and started doing the same in various ways. One example of this is the campaign Saving Tuvalu. This campaign focuses on helping the fourth smallest country called Tuvalu. Both them and thousands of people started a virtual protest, creating thousands of images in thousands of contexts to help bring light to the climate change problem. Black Lives Matter. In 2013, 3 radical Black organizers, Alicia Garza, Patrisse Cullors, and Opal Tometi, created a Black Center political will and movement building project called Black Lives Matter. It was in response to the acquittal of Trayvon Martin's murderer, George Zimmerman. The project is now a member-led global network of more than 40 chapters. The members organize and build local power to intervene in violence inflicted on Black communities by the state and vigilantes. Black Lives Matter is an ideological and political intervention in a world where Black lives are systematically and intentionally targeted for demise. It is an affirmation of Black folks' humanity, their contributions to society, and their resilience in face of deadly oppressions. Lately, the Black Lives Matter movement has come to the surface once again due to the murder of George Floyd. Many people started making murals with his face and started protesting with thousands of posters, drawings. When people couldn't go outside to protest due to the pandemic, they started making images and protests virtually. Art was a way of remembering his life and the racial injustice that still exists in the US and worldwide. What can you do? First of all, identify the movement that you want to help. Identify the movement that you're so passionate about. Then, maybe take an example from what we talked about here. Maybe create a song, a dance, a photograph, a mural, a drawing. And share it with the ones you know. Share it with the world. Share it in social media, a website, the newspaper. Maybe you alone can't raise your voice highly enough so that it is heard. But if you show others that you're raising your voice, others will too. And then the right authorities will not have another option but to hear you. And I want to end with this quote. Art contributes to politics in different areas such as critical thinking, aesthetic, directing societies, providing peace and order.